Hey friends, it's your boy BigTCGFan coming at you with another video, and today I'm going to be sharing a deck list with you. This is not a commander deck. It's actually more of a casual legacy deck, I guess, but it's like missing a lot of parts to make it semi-competitive. This is a high tide deck. So let me show you guys some things here. We'll start with the lands. This deck only has 18 lands in it, all islands. Because I'm not forking out the money to put, because you usually put like 6 or 8, probably 6 pain lands in here. The idea being, you'll see when you actually play the deck, because you're going to be drawing a bunch of cards, and so you want to avoid having as many of them as possible be islands. So you would have 6 or 8 pain lands in here. Things like not necessarily, what was it? Not Steve Vince. Scalding Tarn. So cards like Scalding Tarn that have island as one of the options, you're going to use those. So, all right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a lot of what's in the deck for playing. Like I said, this is not a tournament deck, so don't follow like the legacy ban rules or whatever. It's just a casual deck. And I think it's currently illegal, but you never know. So here we go. So first, it has 4 preordains. The purpose of the preordains, the ponders, which I have 4 of. Yep, ponder. 4 ponder, 4 preordains, 4 brainstorms. These are super cheap cantrips that serve both to increase my spell count and help me skim through the deck for key cards that I happen to need. So that's their purpose. And the key thing here is the last, you would always cast the brainstorms and the ponders, brainstorms and the preordains before the ponders. Because what you would do is you'll put cards on top, especially the brainstorm. And then you, if you don't want them, you can ponder to shuffle them away. So it's very handy. All right, next I have 2 meditates. And these cards right here are great because for 3 mana, I'm drawing 4 cards. You're not worried about skipping your next turn because when you cast these, it's theoretically the game should be over soon. Next, I have 2 Merchant Scrolls. I use these to tutor up key cards in the deck. If I get more, I'll probably put like one more in here to counter because I got too many counter spells in the deck. I have 2 counter spells, and I probably would ditch one of these for it. I have 1 Spell Pierce. These are just like something early game to deal with something. I have 4 of the Force of Will proxies. Ironically, the original Force of Wills are expensive, but now these are starting to get expensive too. I actually bought the deck when it came out back in like 99, 2000, I forget when. So yeah, we have these here. They were handy. Next, I have 4 Cloud of Fairies. These probably, like if I could, I would replace them with the Candelabra of Tanos, but I don't have $1,000 times 4 to do that on a casual deck. If I had that money, I would dump it into my commander stuff. So these will probably stay in here forever. But these are great because you put them into play, and what will happen is you'll see there's a spell called High Tide that doubles the mana. And then this will make it so I pay 2, right? Which means so I play a High Tide, so it makes my mana each land worth 2. So I can untap. I play this by tapping 1, it'll untap 2 lands. So it's giving me a big mana buff. Same with Snap. Snap does the same thing, except Snap, you can use it to return target creature owner's hand. If you're using this, if you have this card in your hand when you're trying to combo off, you target your Cloud of Fairies to give you some more mana. But these are also a great thing to keep your butt alive while you're trying to stall till you get the pieces in play. And we're getting close to the pieces in play. All right, so I have 4 Cunning Wishes. The point of the Cunning Wishes are for me to be able to get into my 15-card sideboard. And I'll have key cards in there. These are great because they're instants. I can use them whenever I want. So like, oh, I'm going to cast something. I don't have any counterspell, but I have like 4 or 5 lands. I can cast Cunning Wish and then dig out a counterspell out of my sideboard and put it in there. So there you go. All right, so here are the key cards right here. High Tide. I have 4 of them in the deck. And like I said, what these do is they make it so all islands produce an additional blue when tapped for mana. So these are great to combo off. And the reason why that works is because you have a turnabout. I have 3 of these, and you'll see why there's only 3. Because what you'll do is, I pay 1 blue, and I can tap all the mana, then untap all the lands, and then tap them again, and just keep repeating the process ad nauseum by count. You'll be bouncing a bunch of, you'll be using a bunch of like brainstorms and ponder to dig through the deck in case you're missing like your finisher, or you need anything, or you just want more high tides, or you want to get more mana. Because you want to try to do as many turnabouts and all that stuff. And you got to keep track of how many spells you cast, because what happens is your primary kill is going to be Brain Freeze. So what happens is you just basically cast a bunch of spells and then Brain Freeze your opponent dead for the win. But if your opponent has one of those people who has like an Emrakul in their deck, Then you have Blue Sun Zenith. All right, we'll draw 80 cards. They're not going to be able to draw 80 cards. Boom, they're gone. All right, so that's the win con. The win con is one of two things. You're either going to mill them out or you're going to draw them out, make them draw all their cards. And now we're going to look at our sideboard here to see what we got to deal with that, various things. So I got a Stifle. These, like I said, these cards are here for my Cunning Wish. They're my wish board. I use Cunning Wish to pull these to use as needed. So most of them you'll never use, but they're there. All right, you got a Dismember, a Whiplash Trap. So if someone's attacking you with a bunch of creatures, boom, you get this. Boom. Oh, if you have two or more creatures and they're in the battlefield, there you go, bounce 2 for 1 blue. Echoing Truth. So if you got some guy that makes 1 billion tokens, Echoing Truth. Disrupt. So this is a nice, just wait. It's a cantrip that will not only counter a spell unless they have one. The key thing with this, obviously, you want to time it when they have no mana, but it also gives you a card drop. Dispel. Swan Song. You can see it's very specific what we're doing here. Another spell piece, Pierce, like the one that's in the deck. All right, Annul. So you can see I have very specific things that will deal with various different decks. And the great part is, what makes this great is I don't have to tinker with my sideboard and put the cards into play. You know, I don't have to put them in the sideboard. They're in my sideboard, but I have access to them at any point. Rewind. This one costs a lot, but the fact, this is the one you would like, oh, let me get it out. If you got, like, if you're trying to cantrip off and someone tries to interrupt you, then, oh, well, I'm going to Cunning Wish this, and then not only will I counter your spell, but now I'm going to untap a bunch of lands. Narset's Reversal. So sometimes, like, let's say I cast a Turnabout, and I want to be able to do another Turnabout. I can Cunning Wish, and I don't have another Turnabout. I can Cunning Wish for this, and then copy my Turnabout. Or actually what it does, it copies it and puts it in my hand. So the same thing, really. All right, so as you saw, I had 2 snaps there, and I have 1 here because sometimes you just need to bounce something. And these are the cards that are in the deck that I have in here as a backup plan. So we got Turnabout, Blue Sun Zenith, and Brain Freeze. Because you don't want to just have 1 card, oh, I got to win, and maybe you didn't draw. Maybe it's on the bottom of the deck, and you're not getting it, so boom, you Cunning Wish for it. So there you go. This is a very simple deck. It's called High Tide, and what it does is you double your mana, draw a bunch of cards, and then use your combo to combo out after getting your spell count high. And your combo being, or it's not really a combo per se, it's more like it flows together. But it's a cool little fun deck to play, especially if you love having a lot of answers and drawing a lot of cards. I would highly recommend you give it a go. As you can see, I have the budget version, and it works very effectively. It's usually pretty quick, like turn 5 or so, you're killing people or comboing off. So there you guys go. This concludes my video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, share if you can. Peace out.